Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to the second channel. This is video 1 of your October fun week. I have never thought of a name for it, obviously. We're going to do 7 scary story videos in 7 days for the month of October. So yeah, if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe. If you like these types of videos, we're doing 7 in 7 days. Yeah, I didn't have an intro planned for that. Let's just get into it. This is video 1 for our October 7-day scare-a-thon. Sure, that's good. And we're going to get right into it. So let's start with this first story. I'm petting Winnie over here, if anybody's wondering what I'm doing with my hand. This first story starts, I grew up in a house built in the 1900s, so of course many people have lived and died here. The person who lived in this house prior to my parents moving in died of a heart attack in the downstairs bathroom. For as long as I can remember, I never liked that bathroom much. It wasn't like I refused to go in there, but apparently I said to my parents at about 2 or 3 that it was sad. Now, was this my parents trying to scare me? Maybe. But I definitely, as a little kid, never liked it at all that much. My house never used to scare me much apart from this one night. I don't remember how old I was, but I was probably about 11 or 12 and my sister was 8 or 9. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning when I heard my sister crying. I opened my door to see my sister shaking and sobbing, her eyes out, saying that a man was by her door. Now, this is very disturbing to me because this was so unlike my sister. I was the one who was scared of the dark and ghosts and stuff, partially because of the X-Files, LMAO. She was always the one who bullied me for it. Oh my God, the X-Files thing is so real. I remember when I was a kid, one time when I was really little, and it was like this tiny 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house. I don't know. It was a very small house. One story, very small. And I snuck out of bed once and my parents were watching TV after we had gone to bed, and I snuck out of bed and I was watching TV behind the couch. I'm positive they knew I was there. They probably did know I was there. But there was that one creepy alien scene from the X-Files. I will try to find it if I can, but no guarantees. I might not be able to find it because there was a lot of aliens in the X-Files. But I remember sneaking out to the living room and I was watching this scene and I was never the same. It scared me so much as a kid. I get it. The X-Files, when you're a kid, is way too scary. Anyway, okay. And to see her so visibly shaken, saying that she saw something made me believe her. The next day, she was able to give a more detailed description of what she saw. She saw someone peek into her room. He was extremely tall, 7 feet, because she said he was as tall as the door frame, and completely black, basically just a shadow. Ooh, a shadow person. It wasn't my dad because he was downstairs as he used to work late, and it wasn't my mom because she was sleeping, but it couldn't have been either of them since both of them weren't that tall. I reckon it was a trick that your eyes play on you sometimes, but she was shaken for a couple weeks. I've also just realized we have a door to our attic right above where the figure was standing, but I don't know what to make of that. We also think we saw a full body apparition run really fast past a door when we were all eating dinner, but that was a bit more of a funny memory than a scary one as my mom got freaked out and checked all around the house. That was your first story. That's so scary, especially that your sister was scared for weeks after that. These stories about things that happened a long time ago, like you'd think that they wouldn't be as compelling because you'd be like, well, how do you remember any of the details? But for me, the stories that happened in our childhood or like very long time ago that people still remember in detail to this day are more compelling to me because like it's not like when you were a kid, you were looking out for stuff like that to happen, you know, so your brain wasn't like predetermined to look for stuff like that and like add our, you know, brain biases into the mix. And also like if it's stuck with you for decades, like that just gives it more credibility to me because it's like something that's just always stuck with you. I don't know if that's unique about my thoughts on it. Maybe other people have always felt like that too, but I just find that so interesting. Okay, here's your second story. I've always had these dreams that were really weird. I had this dream that my great-granddad told me that he died, and this was the way of him saying goodbye. It felt so real, I almost woke up my mom to ask if he was still alive and okay, but I just brushed it off as a dream and went back to sleep. The next day, when I came back from school, my parents had some bad news. My grandpa had just called my parents to tell them that her dad, my great-granddad, had sadly passed away in his sleep last night. I don't know whether this was a coincidence, but it still scares me to this day. He lived to the good old age of 91 and was an absolute angel of a man. Thank you for reading this. I know it's not the most impressive story you've gotten yet, but I just wanted to tell these. Yours truly, Elle. No, thank you, Elle. I love those. I love a good shadow person story, too. The story about your great granddad passing away is so sad, but also like kind of happy. Like maybe, I don't know. I like to think optimistically that like, again, I'm really skeptical, but I love to think that maybe our loved ones visit us in dreams. I don't know. I just love that. It's just a very comforting thought to me. I feel like that's a great way that even people that don't experience ghosts or whatever can still like be able to get a little closure for our loved ones. And I also just love that you got to know your great granddad. None of my grandparents are alive. All of them have passed away mostly because both of my parents are the youngest in their family. So they were already on the older side when came around and everything. But like, it's just so incredible that you got to know a great granddad because yeah, I barely got to know my own regular grandparents. So thanks for sharing your stories, Elle. Okay, this is the second story for today. Hi, Hannah. You can call me Sunny, and I've been a fan of yours since 2020. I think since your true crime days when you posted about, I can never say it, the Dnipropetrovsk maniacs. That's also a deep cut. Somebody said that they found me from the Bunnyman Bridge video, which was again when I was still like feeling out the niche and still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. That was a video I made so long ago. I'm surprised you watched that video because it sucked. Like it was not a good video, but thank you. I appreciate you for being here that long. That's crazy. I have to take a picture of Winnie and I'm going to have Taylor put in what she's doing right now. That's Winnie. That's what she's currently doing. She cannot let me film without getting attention, but she's so cute, so it's okay. Okay, anyway, back to the story. You've been a huge comfort to me since then, and your videos got me through a lot of rough patches. Oh, thank you so much. Anyway, I have two stories to share with you. My parents are divorced, so each story takes place at their separate homes. I'm sorry these are so long, they're just complex. Story one, if I remember right, I think I might have been around 12 when this happened. It was at my dad's house. A little background on his place is that he lives in the middle of the woods, and the driveway is just sand for maybe a mile until you reach our mailbox. He owns 11 acres of land near a river, so there are no people near us unless you count the house across the river or a mile up the driveway. And the funny thing about my room is that it's literally out of a horror game. My bed is against the wall with a window to the woods right against it, a large closet behind the headboard, a glass door directly towards the hill down to the river, and my bedroom door is one turn away from our always open back door. My bed was even raised above the ground enough to have something or someone under it. Think Friday Night at Freddy's 4. I never played. Is it Five Nights at Freddy's? I think it's Five Nights at Freddy's. I've always done that. It's Five Nights at Freddy's. Wow, Hannah, it's fine. You guys, you know what? It's fine. I've been filming a while today. Since I had celebrated my birthday with my mom that year, when my siblings and I went to visit our dad, we had celebrated it. That's even the reason why I was awake at around 3 a.m. I had wanted to get a slice of my birthday cake and just go back to the horror game-esque room. I had just gotten the cake onto the counter and was getting a bowl and fork ready when I heard a knock on the window. It wasn't a tree branch. There weren't any trees near that window. The sink in the kitchen had a huge window in front of it, and there was a deck right outside behind it. Our roof was an incline and went over, so nothing could have rolled off of it to make that noise either. It was a light knock, like if someone knocked on the door. It couldn't have been anything else. I flinched and stared at the window for a long while, trying to process what I heard. I had horrible anxiety as a kid, but I managed to calm myself down by excusing it with maybe it's my brother. My older brother liked to stay up late a lot, just like I did. My logic, even if it didn't make any sense, is that there would be bugs out and it was pitch black with no phone light at all. And maybe it was that he locked himself out and needed me to let him in. Again, that logic didn't make sense. Our deck had stairs that led down to the grass, and he could have easily just walked back in from our back door. I grabbed my phone to use as a flashlight and unlocked the deck door, opening it up, and he wasn't there. Then I thought maybe it was the other deck door in the living room. It was an open space connecting the two rooms, so he could have been there. I went over to that door, opened it, and nobody was there. After I shut the door again, still freaked out, but I brushed it off again with my anxiety. I hated this house when it was dark, so maybe I was hearing things. So I waited. It happened again. I just checked. Nothing could be making that noise. Nothing. I did the obvious thing and still got my cake before putting the rest away and running to my bedroom and turning the lights on. I was scared, so scared. My door didn't have a doorknob. I couldn't even lock it. I knew that this sounds like a nightmare a little kid would experience, but I swear I felt watched. Something in my gut told me that something was outside. I was a kid in an unfinished cabin in the woods, and my dad wasn't home due to work. My older siblings were upstairs, but even if I excused the first knock with my brother at first, I know neither of them had left their rooms. That staircase is right outside my bedroom door. I would have heard footsteps or my brother's loud music through his earbuds. If it was an animal, that thing must have been so precise because it wasn't a scratch or super loud like if it threw something at the window. It was a light knock, a human-like knock. It wasn't a scratch knock like if my dog was sitting out there wanting in. The next day, I remember dragging my sister around to try to figure out what it had been. We even walked on the trails to the abandoned house and garage on the property. Nothing. It wasn't a dream either because the plate from the night before was in my room. I couldn't explain this. Nothing was out there. It wasn't windy at all that night. Even if there was a reasonable explanation, it still creeps me out. I would like to offer the explanation of it being an owl. That's what I would think it was, is that perhaps it was an owl that tapped on the glass. Maybe it was nearby, or it had something in its beak or something like that. Like maybe it was trying to eat its prey and it was killing its prey or something like that. And so it tapped somewhere in the vicinity and it sounded like it was on the window. That would also explain why it was gone when you went to go look. That would be my guess. I don't know for sure, of course, as I wasn't there. Either way, that sounds terrifying. Okay, so this one is a little more reasonable to be so freaked out about. It was the summer, my mom was at work, and only my siblings and I were at home. I think we were around 12, 11, and 9, me being the youngest. Let's call my older sister Leah, not her real name, obviously. Leah and I were in the basement. Our brother was in his room doing who knows what. A little while before, we were playing on the family computer. My sister had asked if I wanted to play outside, and me, being the chronically online child that I was, declined. I don't know how long we were down there, but eventually Leah wanted to go get something from the kitchen. Our basement stairs were right in front of our side door, and directly to its right was our small kitchen with a window once again above the sink. I honestly wasn't paying much attention. It must have been just about a minute or two of Leah going up the stairs before she ran back down and grabbed me. She told me to be quiet and told me that a man was peeking through our windows. Look, my older siblings used to bully and scare me a lot, so I didn't believe her. To see for myself with her right behind me, we creeped back up the stairs and peeked back into the kitchen, and there he was, a man in a neon orange shirt and a camouflage cap. What the hell? Oh my God. I will honestly say that two kids, both 9 and 11, are not very good at being sneaky. He definitely saw us, since he was tall enough to look down and see our heads. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We ran back downstairs and were panicking, but my sister was trying to possibly excuse it. Maybe he got the wrong address or was looking for our mom. Then the power suddenly shut off. We had an older house at the time, and the electrical box was outside near the kitchen window. What a coincidence. If you're wondering why neither of us called our mom, we didn't have phones. The only person in that small house who had one was our brother, who was upstairs and in his room. We both made the rational decision to leave the basement and get to our brother to make him call someone just in case. So Leah and I creeped back upstairs and crawled through the kitchen. We didn't see him there, but as my sister was dragging me to our brother's room, I saw him outside our front door trying to open the door. We never used that door, only the side door, since that's where our mom's car was parked. That door was still unlocked. It wasn't me who remembered it. Rather, it was my sister who pushed me into our brother's room and ran back to the door to lock it. I was the one who told our brother what was going on. He didn't notice anything. The room light was already off and he was just playing his 3DS. He called our grandpa and told him that there was a man trying to break in, and our grandpa sped over there. According to my grandpa, when he was approaching in his big white work van, the man ran to his car and quickly got out of there. He wasn't able to catch the man, but he checked on us and if we were all okay. But the man actually did cut the power on our house. This is so terrifying. You guys were like so lucky that you got out of this, but there's an explanation. Okay, I'm reading now. Read before I get ahead of myself. I found out later that the man was my mom's ex who was stalking her, and she was struggling to get a restraining order from him. I had my birthday party at his house once. We even slept over. I still wonder what could have happened if I agreed to play with Leia outside that day. None of us know what he wanted to do, but he knew our mom wasn't home. Was he going to wait there for her to get home, or was he actually targeting her children? If he cut the power after she saw my sister and I'm leaning towards that he was trying to get us. I joke about it, but maybe Roblox genuinely saved my life that day. My mom also has a restraining order now. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. Oh my God. That's all. I hope if you read these 2 stories that they were at least entertaining to a degree, even if they're not put into video. Keep up the great work and stay spooky. Okay, what the hell? That is so terrifying. It sounds to me, I don't know why you would cut off the power if you weren't going to try to kidnap somebody. That's what it seemed like to me. I don't know his intentions, of course, but it seemed to me that he was doing that so he could like get inside and then hold you guys hostage to kidnap you in order to hurt your mom and freak out your mom, or I don't know. That is a terrifying story. Wow. I'm so glad that you got out of there, okay? And that he left and that somebody came, that your grandpa saved the day and everything, because what the hell? I hope, did he go to prison for that? I doubt it. What the hell? That man, oh my God, I hope he's respecting the restraining order. That's crazy. Why are men? Okay, let's move on to the next story. So this is story 3 for today. Hello, Hannah. It's human. Hello. So before we start, I love your content. I've been a big fan for a long time now, and I have quite a few creepy stories, though I'll only tell one of them for today. Also, there's no need for me to stay anonymous, so feel free to say my name. One thing you have to know before I start is that I live in an apartment building and there are 8 families in my building. I live on the first floor and the ceilings are not the best, so I can hear the neighbors above me when they're walking. Ugh, been there. I think it would be smart to start with the relationship my family had with the upstairs neighbors. It was an elderly couple and they were very sweet. Since my family is Russian, we would always make typical Russian dishes on holidays and bring the neighbors small portions. So as you can see, we had an amazing relationship. Oh, that's sweet. One day, though, I walk into the apartment building and see a sign that the wife had died. I had to admit it made me sad since we had such a great relationship, but that is where the weird stuff began to happen. It was always small things that were typical of ghosts. Though I personally don't believe in ghosts, I think it would be fun to believe in them since it sounds like something that could make good adventures. I'm the same way. I don't really believe in them. Well, I do. I don't know. I'm so undecided. I'm a skeptical believer. But I do kind of find life is just more fun. That's what I ask people when they're like, I don't believe in ghosts. I'm like, yeah, but life is way more fun if you do believe in them. Just saying. Okay. Anyway, one thing I remember clearly was when I was in the basement. For your understanding, there is a door to access a small room with more doors, which are the doors to the basement rooms. And I had the main door open because I wanted to carry out my bike, and it would be hard to do if the door was closed. So I went to grab my bike and suddenly I hear the door fall shut. The door was pretty heavy, so it was loud and startled me. But when I went to go check, there was nobody there. I can't help but connect it to the neighbor. But the scariest thing that happened was when the husband passed away. For a few days before I found out that he had passed away, I remember very clearly hearing a loud bang as if he fell. I was a bit worried, but after a little, I heard footsteps again and assumed he got up and everything was fine. It was evening, so I fell asleep not so long after I heard that. Though the sleep didn't last for long, since in the middle of the night I woke up again because I heard fast steps upstairs. It was almost like running, and the footsteps were so much louder than usual. I didn't think much of it since I thought that maybe I was just sleepy, so I dismissed it. A few days had passed and I heard the weird footsteps every day, until the day when the ambulance arrived. The family of the old man got worried since they apparently didn't hear from him for days. He had passed away that day that I had heard the bang, and the day the ambulance came is when they got the dead body. Oh my God. So this person is saying that the footsteps they heard for those days that were so loud, the man was already dead at that point. Like he had already passed away and hadn't been found yet. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I still think about it sometimes, like what the footsteps were. I don't think it was a person just because it wouldn't be logical to be in the same apartment as a dead body and not call anyone. That is just a weird story that keeps me up at night sometimes. One more creepy thing is that I have a cat now. My family got him half a year ago. The old couple was already passed away by that time. Once, my cat ran out of the apartment and ran up the stairs. But the moment my cat was at the apartment door to the old couple's apartment, he got scared, hissed, and ran towards me again. After that, he never tried to escape. I'm sorry that this is such a long story, but I never knew which details to leave out and which to keep in. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I would love to hear your explanation. Romeo, I love your story. Okay, and I love that, like, will we ever know if ghosts exist? Maybe not. Do cats and dogs already know if they do or not? I strongly believe so, yes. Cats can see things that we can't. They are such weird creatures. This is not a different filming day. I just took my sweater off. I got too hot. Romeo, I don't really have an explanation. I mean, that's crazy. Literally the only other thing I can think of is that maybe somebody had moved into another unit in the building and maybe they were a really loud walker. And so it sounded like there was walking coming from their apartment, even though it was somebody from an adjacent apartment. Like, that's the only logical explanation that I can think of. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that couple found whatever they were looking for. Maybe he was looking for her. Maybe he died and he was looking for his wifey. Okay, story 4 for today. Hi, Hannah. My name is Erin, and this is a story about my spouse and me visiting a well-known haunted house. I'm going to refer to my spouse as B, and both of us use they, them pronouns. The haunted house in question is the S.K. Pierce Mansion in Gardner, Massachusetts. It's known as one of the most haunted places in America and has been visited by shows such as Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, and My Ghost Story. The high-level entities have prevented any owners from staying in the house for long, so the group that currently owns it makes money by offering daytime tours and overnight visits for those looking for something more adventurous. B's work schedule gives them the weekend off every other week, and on those weekends we like to go on dates to cool and interesting places. Halloween had come and gone, and we were still in a spooky mood, so we decided to book a day tour of the mansion. We believe in the supernatural with a heavy coating of skepticism. Some pretty weird stuff happened on our tour, but I will be offering logical explanations for them. The first event happened early when the tour guide was giving us the history of the house and told us about some of the ghosts that were known to appear in the parlor, the room that we were in. After she told us about the spirits that appeared as children, I thought I felt something brush my shorts on my right side. This happened to be the same side that I had some cherry-flavored cough drops in my pocket. This one is very easy to explain since it was probably just a small draft, and it made my imagination run wild after learning about the ghost children in the room. The next event was far weirder. It happened when we started moving to the dining room. Once B and I found a place to stand, I started hearing muffled music. At first, I thought it was coming from a noisy neighbor outside, but the music sounded like a lullaby, and it sounded like it was coming from upstairs. It caught me off guard, and I looked around to see if anyone else noticed it, but no one else reacted, so I didn't say anything. After we moved upstairs, it turned out that there was an old broken record player right above the dining room. Yeah, so you think it was just the record player that just went off randomly because it was broken? Interesting. Okay. Skipping ahead a bit, when our tour ended, a pair of old ladies asked B and me if we heard the music in the dining room. I said that I did hear it, but to my surprise, B hadn't heard anything. My best explanation for the music was that there was a hidden speaker somewhere that the tour guide activated with the remote, but that doesn't explain why I was able to hear it and B wasn't, even though we were standing right next to each other. That's true. It could have been some weird acoustic setup, but I still find it very odd. The rest of the guided tour was pretty uneventful, but it was still very cool to hear about the house's history, the spooky stories, and see all the cool vintage furniture that was used to decorate the house. The next weird thing that happened during the free roam part of the tours, where guests could freely wander the rooms on their own. B and I took a bunch of pictures, but nothing weird happened in them. But then I had an idea to go back into the basement. The basement is considered one of the most haunted parts of the house, where a particular angry spirit dwells. B was nervous but agreed to go check it out with me. On our way down the stairs, I saw a weird shadow moving. It looked like some kind of tentacle that waved and then darted out of view. Since the basement had windows, it could have easily been a bird or something causing the shadow, but I wanted to go see for sure. When I told B what I saw, however, their response was, "Nope, nope, nope, we're done down here." B is not me, but my friends. I am you. I would also be like, okay, let's go investigate. And B is my friends. That would be like, nope, goodbye. AKA the smart ones, probably. Since B was ahead of me on the stairs, I reluctantly went back up. But this was just as well, since our free roam time was over and we had to leave to allow the next tour group. I still wish I had been able to check out what caused the weird shadow in the basement, but the thing about B and me is that we have personalities that complement each other perfectly. I have the instincts of that really dumb horror movie character who gets killed off early, while B is the more sensible one who survives to the end. We'll probably go back someday with friends or family, and we could brave the basement again together. Thanks for reading. If you or your other viewers ever find yourself on the East Coast near Boston, the mansion is a pretty cool place to check out. If you're feeling brave, that is. Thanks for reading, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And that one was from Erin. Thank you, Erin. I love stories that are connected to real places so that people can either send in their own stories if other people have been here, or people can then know kind of what to expect if they were to go in the future. So that was the S.K. Pierce Mansion in Gardner, Massachusetts. There are so many haunted places that I want to go visit, but I have a running list, so I'll add that to the list. Okay, here's our last story for today. Hi, Hannah. Trigger warning for SA, but not mentioned in detail. And if you could read this, I'd be so appreciative, since it could possibly help connect some open cases. Ooh. Okay, so just a warning. That's your trigger warning now for SA in this story. My name's Amy, and I love your channel. I find your videos strangely comforting and watch them every day. Thank you, Amy. This story isn't technically mine, but my mom's. My mom is currently 60 years old. She doesn't remember exactly when this happened, but she must have been around 6 or 7, as it was in her old house before she moved, especially since this is the incident that caused the move. She was born and raised in Glasgow with her mom, dad, 2 sisters, and older brother. This would have been before her youngest sister was born. She lived in what's called a tenement house, basically a skinny, tall townhouse made to be affordable for the working class, as her mom was a housewife and her dad was a bricklayer. Wow. Don't hear about that kind of job every day. One night, her mom was out for bingo, and her dad took her brother to the dog track since there wasn't much else to do, so she and her sister were left at home with a babysitter. This would have been around 1970, so it is pretty normal for kids to be left either home alone or with a very young sitter. Also explains why dad took brother to a horse race so casually, because it was 1970. It was around 9 p.m. and my mom and her sister were getting ready for bed, brushing their teeth in the downstairs bathroom before the sitter started taking them up to bed. Before they got up the stairs, the doorbell rang. So my mom and her sister hid behind a wall, since as a kid, you're always told not to answer the door at night. But the man had saw lights on and movement through the window, so he kept ringing the bell until he got an answer. Oh, if I was that babysitter, I'd be cringing. Oh my God. Even in 1970, I'd be like, I don't want to answer the door, dude. Go away. Boy, the babysitter opened the door, but with the chain on so that it was just open enough for her to ask the man what he wanted. Smart babysitter. Good job, babysitter. He told her that his car broke down and he needed to use their phone. The babysitter said that she would call the police to come help him and that he could wait on the steps outside. Again, smart babysitter, especially for over 50 years ago. That is a smart babysitter right there. No, you do not need to come into my house. I'm sorry. What do you think this is? Like, stop it. My car broke down and I need to use your phone. Then go find a man your age. Do not target a young babysitter who is likely a minor herself, probably a teenager, and a place where there's kids. Like, go find somewhere else. Even if your intentions are good, I don't care. Find somebody else. Don't freak out young minors and women. Okay. At the mention of the police, he broke down the door, ripping the chain from the door and barging in. That's not where I thought this was. Oh my God. So he really didn't have good intentions then either. Wow. He essayed the babysitter, and in the commotion, my mom and sister ran next door to get them to call the police. Some of the men next door ran in to help the babysitter, but the man got away. Oh my God, that's terrible. My mom and her sister were brought to the station and were questioned. They took their statements and that was it. Until a few years later, my mom was watching the news when they reported bodies found that connected to the famous serial killer Fred West. And when they showed the picture, my mom was certain that he was the man who broke into her home. She recognized his sick smile straight away. She didn't tell anyone as it was too painful to relive. A few years ago, more bodies were found, and there was evidence showing that he was, in fact, in Glasgow the time of the attack. I've urged her to go and make another statement as it could help uncover more victims and missing people, but she doesn't want to. Hopefully your reading this will help get the word out and have more people come forward. Oh my God. Thank you so much for reading this and taking the time to make all of your videos. Keep doing what you're doing, Amy. Thank you, Amy. I'm going to have Taylor put a picture of Fred West right here in case you guys needed to ring a bell. And here, I'm going to just read a quick synopsis of him. I remember reading about him in the... Oh my God, it's that guy. That's right. I literally, oh my God. Isn't this the Thelma and Louise guy? Yes, this is that real bit. Oh my God. If you guys want to know more about, I think Danielle Christie made a really long, thorough video on them, but this is about Fred and Rose West that, oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So the Wikipedia really quick. Fred Walter Stephen West was an English serial killer, which tracks with the story too, who committed at least 12 murders between 1967 and 1987 in a city in England that I can't read. And the majority with his second wife, Rose West. That's the one that he had Rose. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I'm not going to read the rest of the details because if you want the terrible, terrible details, I would go watch a true crime video on it. But that is crazy. He's also really, I believe your mom too, that's the guy who it was, because he is a very distinct looking man. It would be pretty hard to forget him because he's, first of all, just so ugly. He's just absolutely disgusting looking. Not that if he was attractive, that would make any of this any better. It literally doesn't matter what you look like if you're a serial killer. But I just mean that his nastiness would really make him very memorable. So I just have no doubt that that's who it was. That's crazy. I'm just so glad your babysitter was okay though, or your mom's babysitter was okay. I'm so glad she was okay because I bet she was not emotionally okay. I really hope that she was able to get some sort of support. 50 years ago, I feel like often, especially SA victims back then, there's no support for them. So I just hope she was okay. But yeah, like Amy said, if anybody has any more information or if they were around that time or they know anybody who could have been a victim around that time, yeah, please come forward if you can. And if you want more information on Fred West, there's tons of videos out there, but I can attest to Danielle Christie's video because I've actually seen that one myself. So I know that it's very good, and I will try to remember to link that down below as well. So yeah. Whew, okay. Thanks, Amy. Thanks for, that was a horrible, terrifying story, but also not what I expected. For some reason, I expected a weird ghost story that happened while you had a babysitter and while your parents were away. That's so awful. Okay. All right, that's going to be it for day one. I will see you guys all tomorrow, and I hope you enjoy this little mini spooktacular, whatever, scarefest. I don't know what to call it. Give me names down below, and the most liked comment with the name of what you want this little week series to be, I will put it in the title and or the thumbnail for whoever gets the top liked comment. How about that? So, okay. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video because we have way more coming, and I will see you all tomorrow. Okay, bye.